Last Sunday, we began the story of Ang Lee from his youth to his years in the U.S. as a filmmaking student. After finishing his graduate studies in America, Lee began to look for professional opportunities. But after 6 years as a house husband, his big break finally came from Taiwan. And it was not in directing, but in screenwriting. And now we have our Sunday special report.
The liberal learning styles and wide-open spaces of the US were an amazing playground for a student from Taiwan and a place to meet kindred spirits. At the University of Illinois, Ang Lee met Jane Lin, a microbiology student. Her frank, upright and independent spirit was very attractive to him and they fell in love. Even when he went to New York for his master's, the pair stayed together long distance. 5 years later, in 1983, they married in the US.
可能我个人比较有依赖感吧，因为我很喜欢戏剧哈，然后那个其他事情迷迷糊糊的。
I feel quite dependent, I think, because I love drama, but I'm a bit confused about other things. So it's very attractive to me to have someone who can manage me, cares about me and the things I do, and is intelligent and decisive. I think we complement each other.
A year after their wedding, their son Hung Lee was born, and in 1986 Lin gained her PhD. She took a job in pharmacology in New York. It was a nadir in Lee's career, and his wife was the sole breadwinner.
My wife never asked me if I was earning money. She never evaluated my work through that lens. It was awful when I didn't have inspiration. I didn't want to do anything, and I couldn't think of anything. I didn't even feel like reading books. I'd sit at home, good for nothing, watching the kids and cooking.
Lee couldn't catch a break with a movie studio. He spent lots of time looking after the family, but he kept hoping, watching films, writing scripts and biding his time.
尤其是从像台湾像有这种中华华人背景的人来讲
For many people with Chinese heritage, like people from Taiwan, it would feel kind of embarrassing, but Lee's wife didn't mind. And basically, Lee was really certain about the fact that he wanted to make art. He was someone who needs to make art.
In those days, in Taiwan, you could make quite a lot of money shooting TV dramas. I told him that. It's good money. Come back here, earn 150,000 NT a month. It's good money. But he wouldn't. He said that although life was tough in the US, he was living with hope.
Lee spent 6 long years quietly. He had no employment and no income. He had high ideas about cinema, but he couldn't realise them. In 1990, his second son Mason was born. The pressures of family and career made Lee even more depressed and low in motivation. But then he got good news from Taiwan. It was about to turn his life around.
I just used to think, why don't I have any opportunities? Why is life like this? I was very troubled. After 6 years, I really didn't know what to do. I had given up, but I didn't have anything else I could do. And just at that time, I won a script writing contest by Taiwan's Government Information Office. So I went back to Taiwan and shot Pushing Hands. It was my lucky break.
After winning that award, Lee was all the rage, especially because of his double whammy. His 2 scripts, Pushing Hands and The Wedding Banquet, won first and second place in the official contest.
当时到得奖的时候，大概就已经到最后。
When he won that award, he was pretty much at the end of the road. He was at the end of the line. He only had $42 in savings, so the government bought this plane ticket to come home and accept the award. He didn't even own a suit. I lent him the suit I'd worn at my wedding. He wore it as he got the award and made a speech.
这2个剧本的写作都是为了参加比赛
He wrote both of the scripts for the contest because we knew there was a lot of prize money. So for Lee, it was really a big sum of money.
The next year, Lee realised a long-held dream at the age of 37, directing his first feature film. It was Pushing Hands, financed by Taiwan's Central Motion Picture Corporation.
What I see when I watch it is every single shot is very thoughtful. He's always creative. He's a very conscientious director. All the equipment was his friends. Some were brought over from friends' houses. The main character's son is played by Lee's son.
I don't have time for this. Come here.
Pushing Hands tells the story of a Taiwanese man, his father and his American wife, their family dynamics, the cultural differences between East and West, and the crisis of family ethics that ensues.
Western people find it quite interesting. The family depicted, the family values, the philosophy of love, the relationship between the father and son. I think it's a very appealing subject and theme. That feeling is shared by audiences in Taiwan and the Chinese diaspora, and Western audiences find amusement in it.
The global box office of Pushing Hands quickly earned $32 million. In 1991, the film's lead won Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress and the Critics' Choice Award at the Golden Horse Awards, and Best Picture at the Asia Pacific Film Festival. Lee's first feature film was a major coup, both commercial and critical. It won him further investment from the studio for the risque, The Wedding Banquet.
左边的肩膀高一点点，哎，好，新娘头抬高一点点，笑笑，很痴情的样子。给我们多看一点大牙齿，哎，新郎头低下来一点点，再一点点，很相爱的样子。
The film continued the themes of family and marriage, with lively set scenes of a big wedding, all based on the real lives of Lee and his friends. The raucous drinking games at the banquet were an exact reenactment of Lee's own wedding.
I thought the Chinese were meek, quiet math.
We're witnessing the results of 5,000 years of sexual repression.
其实李安他自己的路径，你知道，那大家
Lee makes a cameo in the film. Everyone's laughing. Directors like Alfred Hitchcock would always make a cameo in their own films. I said, I want to appear in it too. So I was there. I squeezed myself into a shot.
I love you. I love you too.
But The Wedding Banquet is not really about traditional family life. It's a nuanced look at how the main character, a gay man, faces the pressure to carry on the family line and fulfill his duties as a son.
之所以先拍推手，是因为
We shot Pushing Hands first because it was less controversial. The Wedding Banquets was about gay themes, and in the early 1990s, you know, that was rather controversial. So we shot that as our second film, and it was because Pushing Hands was a success.
这个我可以保证，他绝对不是同性恋，就是。
I can tell you for certain Ang Lee is not gay. What he's doing is taking a different perspective. In a traditional Chinese scholar gentry family, an old Confucian military general has a gay son. What does he do with that?
In the 1990s, homosexuality was a sensitive and headline-grabbing subject. The film was controversial even before it came out. Then it won the Golden Bear at Berlin Film Festival. Its box office performance was exceptional. It earned over 100 million NT in Taiwan and won 6 Golden Horse Awards. It also won Taiwan its first ever nomination for Best Foreign Language Film at the Oscars in 1994. After many years in obscurity, at the age of 40, Lee was now winning the highest accolades. But it felt more like stress than encouragement.
其实老实跟你讲，那次我并没有享受那个得奖的滋味。
To be honest, I didn't enjoy winning then, because when I won such a big thing, I didn't know how to accept it. I felt blank. But when I was more aware, I just felt stressed. I kept thinking, My life is going to change, like a child. How am I going to adapt? When I came back to Taiwan, there was so much pressure, so much attention and pressure.
In 1994, Lee shot Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, another 1990s Taiwanese family story, covering the big themes of life, love and sex.
我知道这件事情听起来很不可思议，可是很多事情都是这样发生的。
哪一科被当了？
我认识一个男孩，男的，我们彼此相爱，我们打算将来在一起生活。不过因为他家很大，他说他父母会喜欢我，所以我决定搬过去住。不过最主要的原因是，我怀了他的小孩。
他就跟我讲戏，他就说你就听那个音乐。
When he gave me directions, he told me, really listen to the music, concentrate on the music, look devout. A motorbike will come screeching up to you. He'll say something that you don't hear. His directions make it sound so cute.
对不起。
你搭公车啊？
哎。然后你就会跟着他。
And then you get into it from his direction.
是谁每天在我桌上放那些肉麻兮兮的情书？是谁？ 既然敢写，为什么不敢承认？不要以为你躲着我就算了，等我把情书通通贴到布告栏，签下对笔记，我看你往哪里躲，你躲吧。我那个拍完。
When we finished the shot, my hair was standing on end. It felt like I had been possessed by that teacher.
Eat, Drink, Man, Woman once more explores traditional family dynamics centred on a father. These first three films were dubbed by critics the Father Knows Best trilogy.
Overall, I think he's a director who's very strong on deep human relationships or deep cultural concerns. I think that's always been the case from the very beginning. It's one of his most defining features.
I think my films contain a lot of elements such as the environment in which I grew up, my fear toward my father, fear of pressure, the stress of caring what he thinks, my love for him, all of that mixed together. Through making movies bit by bit, I can see all of that more and more clearly.
Lee's directing style continued to mature. In 1994, Eat, Drink, Man, Woman won Best Picture and Best Editing at the Asia Pacific Film Festival. The sombre tone of the movie did not bring it huge success at the Taiwan box office, but Lee's skill with nuanced emotional stories had attracted a lot of global attention. A Hollywood studio invited him to join a project, Sense and Sensibility, an adaptation of the 19th century British novel by Jane Austen. It was his big break in Hollywood.